Did you ever wonder what it's like to major in economics in The Sims 2? In this video, we're diving into the world of Sims who are hitting the books hard and aiming for that sweet, high-paying career. From acing your classes to landing that dream job at Landgraab Enterprises, let's see if the economic major really pays off in the end, and what absurd classes you have to take to get there. Hello everyone, my name is Reese and welcome to my channel. Economics, the study of services and commodities. If it has to do with simoleons, these folks know about it. It isn't an easy job, but a talented economist who can figure out the markets makes quite the business person. And the first year your sim has to take, it's the freshman year. And here the first class is called Why Money Does Grow on Some Trees. So the name is a twist on the saying money doesn't grow on trees, which is usually used to emphasize that wealth is limited and that it must be earned. The thing is though that in The Sims money does actually grow on trees. And in The Sims 2, if you have just a few aspiration points, you can grab yourself a money tree and grow your own fortune. But on a more serious note, this title likely references economic inequality and how wealth distribution isn't always fair. And some of these references could include investment and compound interest, for example, where money can grow through smart financial decisions, such as investing in stocks, real estate, or business ventures. It could also be to economic policies and government aid, because some individuals or industries benefit disproportionately from subsidies, tax breaks, or financial policies that essentially make their money grow. And another reference could be to corruption and loopholes, because some people find ways to exploit economic systems, making it seem like their wealth appears effortlessly. But probably not legally. But in the second semester, the class is called Work is for Losers, a counterfeiting workshop. So the name again is a funny and exaggerated take on economic principles, likely referencing illegal money-making schemes and maybe also critiques of traditional labor. But first and foremost, I think this is a reference to the money printing machine that your sim can get his hands on in the aspiration rewards. Instead of working a regular job, you can print your own fake money, making it seem like a shortcut to wealth. And it could also reference how many simmers, at least in my game, don't have any jobs, but somehow still make it work through motherlode and catching and what else. But if we try to look at it from a broader societal perspective, it could be a reference to economic theories on value and money, because in economics, money only has value because people believe in it. So counterfeiting exploits that trust, making it an ironic but fitting topic for an economics course title. It could also be a critique of the labor market, because the phrase work is for losers might be a satirical jab at capitalist systems where some people struggle despite working hard, while others find unethical or unconventional ways to get rich. But now your sim has reached the sophomore year and the first semester class is called Economic Forecasting. Guessing never hurt anybody. So the name is a reference to the unpredictability and uncertainty of economic predictions, because economic forecasting involves using data and models and trends to predict future economic conditions. However, even with sophisticated tools, forecasts are often highly uncertain, leading to the joke that guessing is just as valid as the actual analysis. And even experts frequently make wrong predictions about recessions, inflation, or stock markets, sometimes making it feel like they're just doing guesswork. And many economic models rely on assumptions that don't always reflect reality, making forecasts seem like educated guesses rather than precise science. And all in all, I also think that it's a playful nod to the science versus art of economics, because while economics is based on data and logic, real life world factors like human behaviors make it unpredictable. And forecasting does, of course, feel more like an art maybe than a science. But if we move on to the second semester, the class is called Laissez-faire and Other Lazy Policies. So the name is a play on words, poking fun at the laissez-faire economic philosophy by associating it with laziness. The term laissez-faire is French for let do or let be, and it refers to an economic policy where the government minimizes interference in markets, allowing businesses to operate with little regulation. And the joke comes from the idea that a hands-off approach could be seen as lazy governance. And some economists argue that laissez-faire policies can lead to issues like monopolies and worker exploitation or financial crisis, making the lazy label a satirical critique of minimal government intervention. In a more simple sense, it could also be a wordplay on lazy and laissez, which sounds like lazy maybe, with the idea of inaction reinforcing the joke that a government following laissez-faire policies is doing nothing on purpose, so like they are purposely being lazy. And it's probably also a reference to a broader political commentary, because the title could poke fun at other minimalist government policies, such as austerity measures or passive economic strategies that critics see as ineffective or negligent. But now your sim is getting closer and closer to actually graduating, because they have reached their junior year, and here the first semester class is called Econometrics, Graphs Aplenty. So the name references to the heavy reliance on graphs, statistics and data analysis in econometrics, which is the application of mathematics, statistics and economic theory to analyze economic data. This often involves creating numerous graphs and charts to visualize trends and relationships. And the wording graphs aplenty could suggest that students in econometrics are bombarded with graphs, and that is a complete data overload. Something that might be very true in real-life economics courses. But hey, if you know, let me know in the comments. So all in all, I think this is a satirical take on the field, because econometrics is often seen as a complex and highly technical subject, and here the class name reduces it to just making a ton of graphs, which, while not entirely accurate, captures the overwhelming amount of data visualization involved in this class. But if we move on to the second semester, here the class is called Converting Video Game Money into Real Simoleons. So the name is a funny reference to virtual economies, digital currencies and real-world monetization of in-game assets. Or well, at least I guess it is, because I'm not even sure that these things existed back in 2005, or if they did, to what extent. So if you know, again, please share it in the comments. But simoleons is the in-game currency of the Sims series, and the phrase could be a meta joke about how you can't actually cash out on your Sims' wealth in real life. And oh my god, I would have been rich if you could. So this is probably a reference to how us players would have loved to be able to live the life of our Simmers. So when we had Simmers who got rich, or when we made them live the good life, we would sit here in a humble apartment, using a very old computer, eating bad food, dying to live off their simoleons. But there are actually some online games where players can earn in-game currency and sell it for real money. That is something in, for example, World of Warcraft, and it mirrors real-world black market economics. So this could be a reference to virtual economies and microtransaction, because there are games like Second Life and Entropia Universe where they have virtual currencies that you can legally exchange for real money, creating a real economic ecosystem. But now we have it, your sim is getting even closer to graduating because now they have reached the senior year. And here the first semester class is called Exploiting the Environment for Fun and Profit. So the name, of course, is a satirical reference to how businesses and industries exploit natural resources for economic gain, often with very little regard for environmental consequences. And many industries, such as oil or logging or mining, exploit natural resources for profit, often causing deforestation, pollution, or habitat destruction. And the class name here acknowledges the profit-driven mindset behind environmental harm. So in my opinion, this class title mocks the historical economic focus on profits over sustainability, highlighting how businesses maximize short-term gains while ignoring the long-term environmental consequences of it, which is something that we have opened our eyes for, but that still needs a lot of work. But the second semester class is called Senior Project Internship, Coffee Making at Landgraab Enterprises. The name is jabbing at unpaid internships, corporate hierarchies, and the reality of entry-level jobs in businesses and economics. Because I think that many college or university students in business and economics are really excited for corporate internships, only to find themselves doing low-level tasks like making coffee instead of doing real economic work. And in the Sims series, the Landgraab family is this wealthy, long-running symbol of big businesses, capitalism, and privilege. So the joke implies that a prestigious company like Landgraab Enterprises has an intern's role that is still insignificant and exploitative. And in that regard, it's probably also a jab at capitalism and nepotism, because the Landgraab Enterprises, even though of course it's a fictional mega corporation, it is owned by this family, and it could of course also be a satirical jab on capitalism and nepotism, because the Landgraab Enterprises is a family firm. But that's it. Now your sim has major. Let's look at the skills needed to pass, because your sim would need 4 mechanical points, 5 charisma points, 4 logic points, and 4 creativity points. And I think that the need for mechanical skills is a reference to the idea that economies, businesses, and financial systems are often compared to machines that need to be understood, maintained, and fixed. So it could be a nod to the fact that real-world economic models and theories sometimes require a technical, almost engineering-like mindset to grasp concepts such as supply chains, market mechanics, and financial systems. I think the need for charisma skills is likely a reference to how persuasion, negotiation, and leadership play a crucial role in business and economic success. So in the real world, economists, business leaders, and financial professionals often need strong communication skills to convince investors, to negotiate deals, and to sell ideas, or to influence policy decisions, whether it's a CEO pitching a company vision, a stockbroker persuading clients, or an entrepreneur networking to grow their businesses. Charisma is a valuable asset in the world of economics. And it could also be a playful nod to how economic success isn't always about numbers. Sometimes it's also about who you know and how well you can talk your way into opportunities. And then we have the logic skill, and I think that is a reference to the fact that economics relies heavily on data analysis, problem solving, and critical thinking. So in the real world, economics professionals use logical reasoning to interpret market trends, to make financial predictions, and to develop strategies for businesses and governments. Economic models, statistical analysis, and financial planning all require structured thinking and rational decision-making to understand how resources are distributed and how markets behave. The need for creativity skills is about the importance of innovation, problem solving, and out-of-the-box thinking in economics and in businesses. Because while economics is often seen as a numbers-driven field, success in areas like marketing, entrepreneurship, and economic strategy requires creative approaches. Because businesses need inventive advertising campaigns, unique product ideas, and fresh solutions to economic challenges. And creativity is also crucial in economic theory and policymaking, where economists must think of new ways to tackle financial crises, market failures, and global trade issues. So all in all, I think this is a nod to how some of the most successful people in business, entrepreneurs, inventors, and CEOs aren't just logical thinkers, but also visionaries who bring new ideas to life. But that's it for today. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this video, and I hope you enjoyed it and that you'll stay tuned for other videos. Bye!